I'm Nick. As always, I got Andrew. Well, he's
Hey.
probably on this side on his computer. And then I got Eric as well. And
What up?
today's episode is a very fun episode. We are talking all about Freddy versus Jason. You know, the movie that was such a big impact on us as horror fans. And when we were young, this was such an anticipated film. So, first off, everybody watch it
Yep.
Yeah.
this week? All right, cool. Yeah, so I have some questions planned out. Let me get them pulled up so I can remember them because I'm stupid. Okay, so the first thing I want to bring up is let's take us back to what is it, 2003? I want to say.
Yeah, 2003.
Okay, what were your expectations for this film?
I just expected complete brutality because, like, Freddy and Jason are my two favorites of all time. I love the movies, even though some of them can be crappy and corny. But like, I was just expecting like a bloodbath, absolute brutality, and overall, I think I got it.
Andrew?
Yeah. No, I same thing. I was actually expecting a little bit more, but for the fight scene between the two of them, which still ended up great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
I was
agree.
expecting a tad bit more.
Yeah, I can see that. I agree.
I think for me, I was so excited. I didn't give a shit what happened. like the idea of like my two guys, Freddy and Jason, meeting up finally after like years of hinting towards it and people wanting it. I couldn't believe it was happening. So I was just so like focused on like seeing the movie. I had no expectations other than the fact that I get to see Freddy and Jason together on screen.
Yeah, because they were teasing us with that ever since the end, like that final scene in the last Friday the 13th.
Well, it wasn't the last
Not the last one, but
Jason Goes to Hell. So what happened with that is that Jason Goes to Hell was to set it up, right? Because
Yeah.
New Line absorbed the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise, but for whatever reason, they just couldn't get it up and going. Whether it was script or they couldn't get Robert or whatever it could have been, right? So that's why they actually made Jason X, right? Because they needed to make another Jason movie soon. Sorry, my nose. They needed to make another Jason movie soon because of rights issues, and they didn't. And they wanted Freddy versus Jason, so they needed to make a Jason movie that wouldn't mess with the timeline of Jason Goes to Hell.
Yes.
So someone said, well, let's put him in space because it takes him way out of the timeline. You know what I mean? And first off, I mean, that's a whole nother story, but Jason X is literally one of my favorite Jason movies of all time.
It's just pure fun, but that's for another discussion.
Exactly. So, when it eventually did happen, it was years and years, and there were so many scripts, so many different ideas, and the one constant was always my boy Robert Englund. He was always going to be in it.
Yeah.
So, I just think, with all, because I remember seeing on AMC Fright Fest, I remember seeing Freddy's hand come and grab Jason's mask, and I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening.
Yep.
And, and then thank God we didn't really have to wait that long. I can't imagine, because we were young. I can't imagine
true, yeah.
seeing, because when we were young, the latest Friday the 13th movie was Jason X.
Right.
That was the only one that I can, besides Freddy vs. Jason, Jason X was the first one I can think of.
Yes, because
That
that's
was
2001.
Yeah, that was the one I could think of that I'm like, oh my God, there's a new Jason movie, right? And then there hasn't been a new Freddy movie since A New Nightmare, which again, I was too young to really, it was already out by the time, I was, conscious enough to even go and rent films.
You were a year old when it came out.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? So the anticipation wasn't as bad for us, so I can't imagine, horror fans, leading up to this film.
Yeah.
Because, we're lucky. We basically, I was born in 93. It came out in 2003. I started being, a serious horror fan, around, the 1999 till now, so I really didn't have to wait long at all.
Go ahead, Andrew, sorry.
I only became a horror fan because of you.
Yeah, I have that effect on people. I'm pretty sure that Eric became a hardcore horror fan because of me as well.
I became a hardcore horror fan. I liked the classic stuff as a kid. But when I met you, that's when I started seeing all the newer ones and some of the more brutal shit. But I was more into the classic stuff. My parents were kind of not strict, but they're like, oh, you don't need to see an R-rated movie. Here's Dracula. And yet they let me watch
Good
like
fucking
Freddy
movie.
and Halloween and all that. Like,
Yeah.
how's that make sense?
Whatever.
Whatever.
Parents don't make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like I think like for the most part, like my expectations for this movie were just so shadowed by the idea of seeing them on screen. I gotta be honest with you, the movie lived up to every bit of expectations that I could have even thought of anyway. Like,
Yeah.
Robert England was flawless. It's like he never left. And then I know everybody wanted Kane Hodder.
Yes.
And and Kane Hodder's amazing. He's arguably one of the greatest Jasons. He's one of the greatest people to meet.
Mhm.
But I gotta be honest with you, I really love Ken Kersinger as Jason.
Me too.
I love him.
Me too.
I think like the director Ronnie Yu wanted Jason to almost be like Frankenstein. He wanted him to tower over Freddy. And Ken's 6'6" plus feet. I don't know exactly how tall, but he's over 6 feet, right?
He's a big dude.
Yeah, Kane's tall, but him and Robert aren't that much of a difference. I mean, if you saw last week in the photo of me and Kane and Robert, it's not that big of a difference in height.
No.
Now, if you see the picture, if you guys go on our Instagram, I posted in my story yesterday a picture of me and Ken Kersinger. He towers over me. I mean, I'm 5'7", I'm not really that tall, but I was up to like his belly button. That dude towers over me. Yeah, there you go, 6'5". So he wanted him to almost be Frankenstein. He wanted him to move slow, and he wanted him to be tall and be like almost like an unstoppable force, like a brick wall. And I think Ken accomplished that. And also, too, a lot of people got to understand when it comes to like making movies. This movie was done in Canada, right? A lot of times, how it works is I learned this from the Q&A with the Jason. So I went to a Monster Mania convention a couple years ago. Had all the living Jasons there. They had Ted White, who I think is the greatest Jason of all time. That's from Friday Chapter 4. It had Steve Dash, R.I.P. He's from Part 2. C.J. Graham from Part 6.
Love him.
Kane Hodder. Yeah, Kane Hodder from four other Jasons. Manhattan 7. Well, it would be 7 Manhattan Hell X. And then Ken Kersinger was there from Freddy vs. Jason. Someone asked a question, and first off, it actually upset them, right? Because Ken and Kane are both on stage. And if you go on YouTube and look at the Monster Mania Jason panel, they're all funny. They love each other. And each one of them are so much friends. Steve Dash talks so much shit to Kane Hodder the whole time. It's so funny. but like basically someone asked, like, how does it feel to not play Freddy, to not play Jason, right? And Kane kind of like got a little upset. He goes, we couldn't have gone one fucking panel without someone asking this question. And he just said real simple. And then like, Kane didn't go into it too much, but Kane just said, listen, me and Ken are friends. We did a great job. And then CJ stepped in and says, listen, this is how stuntmans work. Okay? They filmed in Canada. Ken is from Canada.
Right.
A lot of times they just go with who is the closest there. His audition was literally, he walked in and said, hey, walk around the room. He walked around the room and the director goes, yep, that's the guy. So like, if they filmed in like LA where Kane lives, Kane probably would have got it. When CJ Graham filmed, I want to say in like North Carolina or whatever, he was there.
Right.
Most guys get the job because they're in that general vicinity. Like Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't know how many people know this, but Ken Kersinger was Kane Hodder's stunt double, and they filmed Jason Takes Manhattan in Canada. The scene where Jason gets hit by a car, that's Ken. That's Ken Kersinger.
Okay.
And then the scene when they're in the diner and Jason kills that tall motherfucker in the diner, that's Ken.
I never realized that. Wow.
Yeah, it's because they filmed in Canada. Oh, another cool thing about Ken, after last week's episode, me and Jen started watching Supernatural. Remember the first season when they come across the family that like basically hunts people?
Are you kidding me? He was in that. We never realized it.
Yeah, Ken Kersinger's one of the people, and again, it hit me. Where did they film Supernatural?
He's one of the brothers, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where do they film Supernatural?
Canada.
Yeah. So that's how it works. So all the people that are really upset, like they screwed Kane. Trust me, guys, it would have been sweet. I mean, Kane and Robert are really close. It would have been sweet to see this too. But honestly, I can't imagine Freddy vs. Jason without Ken as Jason.
Yeah.
Like that's the way that I saw it too. Like, it's not like Freddy where you get to see the person's personality or anything. Like Jason, he's just a big lumbering dude in a mask.
Exactly.
It could be anyone. Like
Yeah.
you really can't tell the difference if you're just
No.
watching the movie.
I mean, if you're that hardcore of a fan and you understand like the stuntman's like I guess style, because there are
And
some
body
people that
types.
say body type, definitely body types, but there are people that are like,
Kane-
oh, I could tell that's Kane just because of how he's picking him up. Like, all right,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, like Kane has a very unique body type. Like
Yes, he does.
His Jasons are very stocky, right?
Yeah.
They're almost like a box, right? And he's got a very unique style, and also too like he's the one who started the.
That's true. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like that's when he started. So like yeah, like but like but Freddy versus Jason? It's not like Andrew said. It's not like we needed that. Like we didn't need Jason to puff out his chest, and also too, it's a different like depending on where you see it in the canon of both films, or if you see it on its own, it doesn't make a difference. It's just this was a different Jason anyway.
Exactly.
Right? This is a Jason who's been dead for so long, and Freddy brought him back to life.
Yeah, he's not going to have the crazy energy that, like, say, a Kane Hodder Jason would.
Yeah.
He's going to be slower. He's going to be more shark-like. You know.
And also, he's very menacing.
Yes.
Like, I think this is one of like my 3 top scariest Jasons. My first one would be Ted White from Part 4 because he was still human, and there's something about the way Ted went about it was like really like it was intense. And then Derek Mears from the remake.
Oh, he's brutal. I love him.
Yeah, the survival Jason. Like that's what I always think of him as a survivalist.
Yeah.
And then Ken Kurzinga. Like those 3, I think they're like the 3 most menacing Jasons, in my opinion.
Okay. I could agree with that to an extent.
Yeah. I think you. Go ahead, Andrew.
I just think Jason as a whole is an intimidating character because like you just don't know what's going on at all.
Yeah.
It's like the Michael Myers effect, but with less personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Michael Myers actually has some sort of a personality, whereas
the head tilt.
Right. Whereas Jason's just like, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and I think like Andrew kind of brought up like he was supposed to just be kind of like slow and you know what I mean, like but he's still menacing. Well, the contrast between him and Freddy was so perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have much personality, and Freddy has all the personality. You know, like so it made like especially that final scene. You know, where like they're the ping pong, and you know, like I'm pretty sure Freddy makes a dick joke to him.
Yep.
You know, like like Freddy was the personality. We didn't need someone with like if you look at like Kane, even though Kane's not doing much, you know, but the chest breathing and like he's kind of like he kind of looks more alpha male, right?
He's adding that thing to Jason. But on the other hand, like sorry to cut you off. I feel like this movie you needed that less personality. I hate using the word personality to describe Jason, but it's the best way to. But I feel like for this movie, we needed less of that to kind of balance out and complement Freddy's crazy behavior.
Yeah, like I just really, like I said, I just think like all Kane's Jasons, which is cool. Kane's Jasons are very alpha, right? Like he's the baddest motherfucker to walk into the bar. You say something about his mama, you're getting trashed. But then you got Ken, who's just like he's almost like a straight up zombie, like a Frankenstein zombie, right? Yeah. Just like his objective is to move forward, and anything in its path, he's getting eliminated. There's it's not like an alpha male thing. It's just like he's like a great white shark. He's got his goal. He just wants to move forward.
I mean, that's what he was in this movie anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a zombie.
Exactly.
He's a straight up predator. That's really the best description.
So that's why I'm thinking, like, you know, like I just think like it might, and again, it's so weird, like you guys said, to describe a Jason with too much personality, but I feel like it would be kind of odd because Freddy is so over the top with his personality. But then you're competing with like this alpha male Jason, and it's just to me it makes sense more to have this like stoic, no personality Jason, just you know, just moves forward and like doesn't react to anything Freddy really does. You know what I mean? He just wants to fight him. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like because Kane, you can see like his get like angry with his chest, and again, it's cool. You know, all his movies warrant it, but you like that's the thing. Like he was the first person to give a personality to Jason, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he like does like you can see it like when he's like pissed. You're like, oh shit, his chest is going, whoo, like, run away, But like
Yeah.
you cannot tell if Ken is pissed or not.
Right, because he's going to give you the same reaction no matter what.
Exactly. And that's why like when I understood when like the director Ronnie Yu won it, And first off, like just so people know, the reason why I feel like Ronnie was such a perfect director, one, because See the Chucky, the one film we did, was great. Not See the Chucky. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, you like See the Chucky?
No, I'm sorry. Bride and Chucky. I was. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna say See the Chucky does not bother me as much as it bothers me, but I'm also not a hardcore Chucky fan.
I'm not either, but that movie's just atrocious.
To me, it's just like it is what it is. It's funny. It's not like if it's like a movie that's on and I have it on the background, I can laugh at it. It's not a perfect movie by any sense of the imagination, but that's something else. But so
yeah.
Ronnie did Bride of Chucky. Bride of Chucky's a huge hit. It was a great movie, one of the best of the franchise, and he openly said like he wasn't a fan of Freddy or Jason. He didn't care, so he had an unbiased opinion.
Right.
Sometimes that's the best that you need for a director directing a movie.
Yeah, because like if I directed it, right, I'm a Freddy nut hunter, right? That's my boy.
You're a purist. You'd want it to stay like absolutely. You'd be too perfect trying to put it together.
I would have Jason get his ass whipped the whole movie.
Right.
Like it just would be what it is, But like he was the perfect director for it because he had no bias.
Yeah.
Now, he does say who the clear winner is, but we'll get to that later. Go ahead.
I think it's hilarious that like Freddy brings Jason back and then gets pissed off because Jason's killing too many people.
Yeah, he's mine. She's mine. She's mine.
Like
they're so good.
And to swing it back to personality again, that's the personality that you see is like Jason's just like, all right, I'm just gonna kill all these people because they're all standing here and getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
And Freddy's like, all right, so I gotta draw them in. I gotta do this weird little thing in the dream world for no reason, and then murder them.
Yeah.
And Jason's just like, stab.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and like Freddy gets mad because he's like, no, he just won't stop. Like,
and he's getting mad at his own plan because Jason's just following orders.
Yeah.
Like, you want me to kill? Okay, I'll keep killing. All right.
There's so many. So that leads me to like my next question. What was your favorite? It could be a fight scene, but what was your favorite scene in the movie?
Oh. I mean, what do you guys got?
So I have two. Obviously, that ending scene at the camp is like probably one of the coolest fight scenes ever.
Yes.
But I also really love the scene when Jason's going to the cornfield and he's on fire, and the camera's just following the like he has like an overview, and you just see him just like going through it like on fire, and then he just massacres the entire freaking party. He hits the beer keg and the fire goes off. Like those two scenes are probably like the ones to me that are like just fun.
I
and, like,
think
it's like
for
that
me as
scene,
well.
Yeah, like I just think like that scene alone with at the rave, that's Jason.
Right.
Like that's Friday the 13th right there. Like,
yes.
Horny teenagers drunk and partying, and he's just fucking killing them all. And then like I think I like especially leading up to the final battle because that's like Freddy's moment, right?
Yeah.
He's in the dream world. You got that Nightmare on Elm Street feel. You're like, oh shit. And then he gets there and he's talking so much shit. That's probably why I like Freddy. Anybody who knows me knows I love talking shit.
Yes, you do.
Even if I suck at whatever I'm doing, I will run my mouth the whole entire time, and I will go out. Yeah, and I will go out look like an idiot. But like that's the thing. Like I just love how much shit Freddy's talking.
Yeah.
Like you get to finally see that those two, and he's like even in the dream, he's talking shit to him, and he's like even screwing with him as a kid and shit. Like it's just like it's so Freddy. And I think one of the great things that Ronnie Yu did was blend the styles of both films so well that you honestly can't really tell if it's more of a Friday 13th or if it's more of a Nightmare movie because it's just such a good blend. Like
True.
you just know it just belongs in both universes.
Yeah, they did blend the two pretty well. They gave him, I would say, a pretty equal amount of time on screen. So I would definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
For me, I agree with the cornfield thing. Like from a cinematic or videography or whatever term it is, like I just think it's a beautiful shot the way it's shot. It's the best in the film, in my opinion. But my favorite is actually just that line that the stoner kid says in the van. That goalie was pissed about something, just because it's just so funny.
Yeah. But think about the cornfield scene. That's the great white shark,
Yes,
right? That's Jaws.
hunting the
No.
little fishies.
Just following them down, like, and that's the thing. That's right. That scene. If you haven't got the idea of what Jason was supposed to be by that point, then I can't help you.
Right.
He just moved forward. That's it. He didn't have an exact objective. He just knew he had to kill all these sons of bitches. So one way or another.
How dare these kids get high and have sex?
Yeah.
They gotta die.
Kid throws Everclear on him.
I mean, he was just protecting his corn, man. I mean, all those kids, they were ruining the corn.
That's true. Jason really loves his corn.
Yes, he did.
Favorite food.
Little do you guys know, Jason's actually from New Jersey, who's known for their corn.
Yes, I actually live an hour away from Camp Crystal Lake, the real one.
Yeah, well, I do want to make the trek up there eventually and go to the Friday the 13th Museum in Blairstown.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I would love to. We'd crash at Eric's house for the night.
Yeah, I got plenty of room.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to. Because I mean, I probably, in all reality, since I am Jersey, I probably should be on Jason's side, but I'm not. So
That's cool. I understand.
Springwood boy.
Anyone who knows you knows that Freddy is your like go-to. So
yeah, I have him tattooed on me.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of my tattoo, it's actually on Robert England's website. My tattoo.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got to show him it too in person. It was really cool. He liked mine. I have my tattoo is American traditional. It's actually on my Instagram if you guys want to see it. And I have a rose on it, and he thought the rose was like really cool. Like for whatever reason, he just thought it was like so cool that I had a rose in it.
I mean, it's
he
a
liked
stark
it.
contrast.
Yeah. So, but it was kind of cool to be able to show him it. Like, it's kind of cool. Like most of my tattoos, I was able to show the people who were, who they were for. Like, I have a tattoo of Michael Myers, and in the tattoo itself has the Halloween Season of the Witch pumpkin mask on it. And I got to show Nick Castle and Tommy Lee Wallace. Nick Castle actually he's like, can I take a picture? I said, yeah. He took a picture and tweeted it out.
Didn't that make his day or something?
Well, no, that's the other guy. That's Tommy Lee Wallace.
That's
Tommy
it.
Lee Wallace is the director of Season of the Witch.
That's
Now,
right.
When he made the movie, he was really proud of it, and for a long time, until basically I feel like our generation, for a long time, people shit on it, and then our generation came along and was like, this movie's fucking great. And I told him I really loved the movie, and I showed him the tattoo, and he was like, thank you so much. He goes, that's so cool. Like you could tell, he was just he was so happy to see someone appreciate his film that much they got it permanently on their body.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And I think a lot of movies growing up are like that, where they just get a bad rep, and then people just say, oh, well, you can't like that movie, and then you go back and watch it, and it's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like we definitely come from an era where we're not supposed to like certain movies, but we do.
Right.
I don't think we're supposed to like Jason X.
No.
But we do.
We're supposed to hate it.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to have a good time with Halloween Resurrection, but we did.
I mean, you guys did. I didn't.
And we're not supposed to like the remakes, but the remakes are pretty good.
I enjoy the remakes.
Well, me and Eric, when we saw the Nightmare on Elm Street remake,
we were the only ones that liked it.
Yeah, I mean, and just so people were clear, we were not happy going into that film.
No. We were just seeing it just to judge it, be like, all right, what did they screw up? What did they change?
Yeah.
And we ended up leaving it that actually wasn't bad.
Yeah, I actually really liked the remake.
Yeah, I remember going and watching it, and I was like, holy crap, Freddy actually has a storyline in this?
That's what I liked about it. I liked the different take on the story to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of people's biggest criticism was that they up front just said, oh, he's a child molester.
Right.
That
You know, like
I figured
instead
that
of
was
hinting at it.
clear in the original.
Yeah, but well, he was always an original like child murderer. You know,
Right.
like they never
Oh
really
yeah, true.
it was always like there was always like an
Mm.
aura in the air like that it probably happened, but like the remake they just upfront said like, yeah.
Also, think of the time period too, like 1980s. Like people didn't talk openly about that kind of thing. It was
Yeah.
still kind of like taboo. So I guess the murderer made more sense.
But I just felt like in the remake itself, like again, if you don't like it, that's fine. But like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna not like it because you tell me not to. And like
Right.
you know, like as far as like with Jackie Earl Haley, I thought did a really great job as Freddy, and he played a very dark Freddy.
Yeah.
Like a
Right.
lot of people didn't like it because like a lot of people were like, well, he's supposed to be funny. That's not Robert Englund's Freddy though. Just like when people shit on like Rob Zombie's Michael Myers, well, it's not. It's not like the original. Well, it's not. It's Rob Zombie's. It's not like you can talk about like, and if it's supposed to like be a continuation of the original, judge the Myers, right? But it's a remake. Tyler Mane was never going to be Nick Castle. He
Right.
just wasn't.
Yeah.
Just like Jackie Earle Haley was never going to be Robert Englund. It's a completely different timeline, completely different character. If you're going to remake a movie, make it your own, make it different. So that like both films went really gritty, right? Really dark, really serious. You know, even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Anybody who has a problem with Andrew Vinyalski, who I think is
My
best
favorite
Leatherface.
remake ever.
Yeah, and I think it's the best Leatherface. But like, it's like, oh,
hands
he's not
down.
Gunnar Hansen. He's not supposed to be.
No.
They're not even the same universe.
No.
It's a remake. Just like you know, and like Derek Mears, despite, I mean, the Friday the 13th remake is not. I like the movie, but it's not one of my favorites of the Friday franchise. It's a fun movie, but like Derek Mears as Jason was awesome. He was a great friggin' Jason.
Well, you know what it was? He brought something new to Jason because he made him less of like that, like shark, like predator zombie, and made him more like a strategic hunter.
Yeah, like he was like a survivalist.
Out. Yeah, when he left what's his face out in the middle of the field as bait, like
yeah.
When else are you going to see Jason do that? So that's something I liked.
Yeah, and like, yeah, and first off, anybody, if you guys ever get a chance to meet Derek Mears, by the way, he's one of the nicest people on this earth. That guy will talk to you as long as you want, and like he's an open book. I remember I talked to him at a convention, and I did ask him like what happened to the sequel, right? They're all ready to go into production. You know the reason why the sequel got canceled?
Nah.
Because the horror movie Rings, the newest Ring movie, didn't perform at the box office. They said because the Rings didn't perform at the box office, it meant that no one wants to see horror anymore. And they said, well, Friday 13th and Rings are two different like genres of horror. And I said, it doesn't matter.
Well, not just that, but
no one's gonna want to see it.
Yeah, but like think about what other horror movies came out that year. Like I'm sure there was what was that 2009? I mean, like I think there was a Paranormal Activity movie.
Well, no, this was Rings came out like recently because it was supposed to. The Friday the 13th was supposed to come out a couple years ago.
2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah,
I can kind of see why because horror was dipping a little bit.
Well, it's not. No, I mean I don't see why because even like Derek was like I don't know if it was his wife or whoever his handler was. It was a woman. I want to say that maybe they were together. But she said it's so dumb that they canceled their movie because Rings didn't perform.
Yeah, I think that's a little ridiculous.
It's stupid. It makes no sense.
No.
I'd understand if like say like Halloween came out and they're like it just bombed in the box office. At least it's the same genre.
Yes.
You know, slasher. Then I would get it just canceled. But like I don't know, man. Like there was a lot of potential with that new rebooted franchise, and you know we'll see what happens. And even the CW was supposed to have a Friday the 13th TV show.
Yeah, I think what's happening in like the horror genre, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the remakes have gotten people like not wanting to watch big theatrical versions of horror anymore, and they want to see more of like grassroots for certain types of genre, like for killer horror movies. They want something that's a little bit more grassroots at this point.
To an extent, I mean, there's like it depends. It's very weird because like back in like when the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake came out, right? It was a hit.
Yeah.
So they went on a slew of remakes, right? Some were hits, some were not, and then it eventually died off, right? And then we saw that slump with like Rings and Friday the 13th didn't perform. So then it went down.
Yeah.
So then for a couple of years, like they thought like no one wants to see like slasher and horror remakes, but now Halloween 2018 came out and it was a huge hit.
Okay.
So we're gonna start, and we probably would have already seen a new Friday the 13th and a new Freddy movie, but they're held up in court. So there's a legal battle currently between Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller about who should own the rights to Friday the 13th, and then Wes Craven's estate just won the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. So we might be seeing something with them. So basically, like it is kind of like people are weird, you know. They me, I'll take slasher movies all day long.
And, same.
You know, and like currently right now, I know the guy who did Evil Dead, Freddy Alvarez, is currently producing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Another one.
Yeah, but there's even talks about making it a TV show as well, so I'm not really sure. So that's in the works. There's a current Hellraiser remake in the works. There's also Halloween Kills is already filmed.
Yep.
And apparently, the people who saw the early cuts of it said it's like the craziest Halloween movie, and it's like Halloween on acid. They said it's like the most violent Halloween movie out there.
Okay.
What about Candyman? Ain't that coming out soon?
Candyman was supposed to come out, I think like last month or this month, but because the coronavirus is pushed back to November.
Yep.
So that's another one. And then there's now what makes me happy is actually now a new wave of Universal monster movies that's going to be being released because of the success of Invisible Man, which was incredible. So like currently right now, the girl who did Jennifer's Body is doing Dracula. That's already been green light. Yeah, and that's an underrated movie that no one really talks about, Jennifer's Body.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, so she's doing that. From what I hear, John Krasinski is currently writing a Universal monster movie. Jordan Peele is apparently writing one. James Wan is apparently producing a Frankenstein.
Ooh, I want to see that.
Yeah, and there's another one too that's coming out. There's quite a few people right now that are currently on the table to do a Universal monster movie, whether they announce the monster or not. But basically, you know, the Invisible Man really made people want to see some classic monsters, which makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. So we got a little off topic. So we picked. Hey, did you say what your favorite scene was? I don't think you did.
I don't think he did.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say the cornfield, but then you guys were like, you know, the cornfield's great.
We said it for him.
No, I like that, and I do love the ending scene.
Yep. Which hold on to that, because we're gonna get to that.
So. Yeah, I love the ending scene. I also love that douchebag boyfriend that got killed.
Trey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
That's the best kill in the whole movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the whole time he's just being a dick, and then he just died, and it was great.
It was the most satisfying death ever.
He's a prick.
Fuck him.
Your breath smells like menthols.
Right.
Oh no, your hair smells like menthols. So, all right. So now I want to ask you guys, you know, is there anything that you wish happened in the movie that didn't happen? Like, is there anything that, like, if you were in the driver's seat, is there anything that you guys would have done different in this film or added to the film?
I feel like they could have changed the way, even though I do like how they did it, like how they had Jason just like show up on Elm Street and start like causing havoc. I feel like they could have maybe reversed it, and it would have done the same effect where maybe the kids like were hanging out at Crystal Lake, and then like he started killing some people there, and then they got scared and went back to Elm Street, and then that's how they ended up and maybe ended the film on Elm Street. But
pretty cool.
That's the only thing that I would have thought like maybe would have been a different way to take on it. But I still like I can't really complain about too much with this film.
Yeah,
I,
same. I can't think of anything, honestly.
I think the
What?
plot lines are right. I think the characters who they casted were right.
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of the characters, like the teenagers, didn't really have like much of a personality.
And they're really old to be in high school.
Yeah.
Correct, that too.
Typical slasher teens.
But I feel like that's probably they didn't really focus too much on that anyway, just because
Yeah.
Those movies
most of
never
the
do. They're just bodies. That's all they end up being.
So one of the things that I would do, and this is not my idea. So there's a documentary. It's like a 4 hour documentary on A Nightmare on Elm Street, and a lot of scripts went through. A lot of different iterations of Freddy vs. Jason happened, but one of the scripts had a really cool ending in my opinion. So the film was supposed to end, and the reason it didn't happen because they didn't have the rights to one of his characters. So the film was supposed to end with Freddy and Jason going to hell,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And then Pinhead was supposed to rise and basically be like, welcome to my house," or something like that, and like supposed to end the movie with Pinhead together with Freddy and Jason. And I thought that would have been really cool because even though the Hellraiser franchise is basically a franchise that's been driven through the mud and beaten with a bat, and it's a tough. I mean, I know the first movie, none of us are really like. We're not. I gotta be honest. None of us are really diehard Hellraiser fans here.
I hate all of them.
Well, the first one it was decent. And I really liked the second one, and then the newest one, Hellraiser Judgment, I really liked too. But I really like Doug Bradley's portrayal of Hellraiser, and that's what keeps me going. I've seen all the movies at this point. I own them all, and there's some fun to be had. But like, unfortunately, it's been one of those cash cows for Dimension Films, which was run by the Weinsteins. Um, yeah, and they basically always used it as a rights issue. And what they would do is they would get scripts that weren't even supposed to be Hellraiser films, slap Hellraiser on the title, and rework the script to fit the Hellraiser genre, to fit the Hellraiser world. And
Right.
it's just a shame because like Doug Bradley himself, first off, really great guy. I've met him, super cool dude. Um, Doug Bradley himself is so good, and the character Pinhead is super cool looking, right?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So, and there could have been a really amazing franchise. That's why I'm actually looking forward to them remaking it. Um, but it would have been cool to add another horror icon to the world, right? And
Yeah.
make this versus a franchise because there was talks of even adding Ash in the next film, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which they ended up turning into a comic book series. But like you sit there and think to yourself, can you imagine if like the next film was like Freddy and Jason, Pinhead and Ash
That'd be interesting.
fighting their way through hell? You know what I mean? Like Evil Dead, right? Ash puts himself in hell using the Necronomicon, and then he's down there, he's fighting Freddy, he's fighting Jason, he's fighting Pinhead, you know, and a bunch of Deadites. Because technically, Jason Goes to Hell, if you ask the director, Adam Marcus, he thinks of it more as a Evil Dead sequel than a Friday the 13th movie. The Necronomicon is in Jason Goes to Hell.
That's right.
Yeah, and like so like it's kind of cool. So like Jason's always been kind of like loosely, but since that point, almost loosely a part of the Evil Dead franchise. So like to me, like it's not that I would change anything necessarily to the movie because I loved it, but I would add to it. Bring on the horror icons. Like nothing would be cooler than seeing that iconic look of Pinhead coming out holding the friggin' lament configuration and being like, "Welcome to my world" or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Freddy and Jason, like. So that's what I would personally do. But unfortunately, Dimension own the rights to Hellraiser. We all know the story of one of the brothers.
Yeah.
Rights to movies are just a pain in the ass more than they're worth most of the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eric, is there anything you would have added?
I honestly can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now. I mean, maybe like if anything, like small nitpicky stuff, but really I don't have any complaints. I wouldn't really change much.
So the big question I have for you two, I want to know who won and why.
Uh,
See, that's a tough one.
I'll let
No,
Eric take this one first.
I know the answer because the
Oh, I know
director
you-
confirmed it. Just so you know that.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
That's fine.
guys.
Eric.
I mean, it's hard to call because, like, initially I used to say like Jason won, but then you got that thing where Freddy, he's still kind of alive. It's a little wink. But then I thought about like, how is he going to get his body back and all that? And I don't know. It's hard. I would say Jason. I'm just gonna say Jason. I'll stick with it.
Is it because the ending of him walking out with the beheaded Freddy?
That's part of it.
Okay, Andrew.
Well, the obvious answer is to say Jason won because he walked out of the water with Freddy's head. But then you got to think, well, what if that scene was actually in the dream world?
True.
Holy crap!
I love you.
That is true.
So, as much as I want Jason to win, because one, he had a higher body count, and two, he still ended up destroying Freddy in one-on-one battle in the real world.
He got ping-ponged.
Yeah, he did.
But Jason, it doesn't matter if Jason gets ping-pong, because he'll just still come after you.
Oh, well, whatever. I'm just kidding.
So Freddy won.
So even before I knew the answer from that documentary I was telling you about, the Never Sleep Again documentary, I always assumed at the end when Freddy winked that he was in the dream world.
Mhm.
So
I had an idea of it.
So, and also I'm biased. Even if Freddy didn't win, he won.
That's why I'm sticking with Jason. I'm biased.
Yes. So like, you know what I mean? Like you think about it, and I will admit, Jason got the best of Freddy in that fight. I mean, he did. But when he winks, if that was the real world, Freddy would be dead.
Exactly.
He wouldn't have winked. Right? So it's a dream world. Freddy brought him to his nightmare.
Yep.
Right? So it was always under my impression that Freddy won, but everybody thought because Freddy walks out headless that he lost. Now, they asked the director. The director did give an answer. He said, absolutely, Freddy won. Now,
who would have ever thought?
Yeah, remember, he's not biased. He doesn't like either movie. He doesn't like either franchise. He likes his movie. He doesn't like either franchise.
Right.
He said Freddy won.
I can agree with it.
Yeah, so
I 100% agree with it.
So here's my thing as a Freddy fan. Anytime anybody tries to argue me, like, oh, Jason won, I'm like, dude, Ronnie, you the director, said he lost. I'm sorry. Freddy won. Freddy's a winner.
All right, round 2. Let's go.
Yeah, well, I wish.
I wish. Exactly. Make it happen, damn it.
Yeah, I wish so bad.
When we were 12, when I was 12 when this movie came out, I thought Jason won.
Yeah.
But I'm much smarter now that I'm an adult, I think.
I'm just a biased asshole.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
even before I saw the movie, I thought Freddy won.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's how biased you are.
Yeah. Even after the first scene, I was like, Freddy won. He won.
Freddy's not even there, but he won.
He won. Doesn't matter. He won.
He's busy giving a monologue, and Nick's like, "Yep,
yeah, he won.
He already
I love
won.
that opening scene. Like,
that's one of my favorite moments of the movie. That monologue.
Yeah. And actually, like, there's one of my favorite looks of Freddy.
Thank you. Yes, that blue tint, like cool tint to him in the beginning.
Well, that. But I also love the demon look of him.
Yes.
That's really cool. And when I met Robert Englund, that's the picture I wanted, but then I didn't have it. But I did end up. I put it on the Instagram store today. I did pick a picture of Freddy from Freddy vs. Jason though.
There you go.
So, because that's my favorite. My favorite Freddy basically is the Freddy vs. Jason version. It would go Freddy vs. Jason, the original, A New Nightmare, and then even though the movie's not my favorite, but the Freddy's is one of my favorites. Is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. It's probably one of the most darkest Freddys out there.
Ooh,
and the makeup on him is fantastic. The movie is a bit iffy. I found an appreciation for it now.
It's controversial.
That I got older, and especially the time period we live in now.
True.
With a lot of people trying to and I'm not trying to get political. That's not what I'm trying to do. But when a
Right.
lot of people are fighting for like LGBTQ rights, that was one of the first horror movies, whether people admit it or not, which was very much, they call it a gay horror film.
Yep.
Because the main character struggles with his sexuality. They go
Right.
to a BDSM club. You know what I mean? Like the character, the guy who plays Jesse, can't think of his name off the top of my head. Mark. Damn, I gotta Google it because I gotta do this guy justice. But he actually is. He actually is. He actually is an openly gay actor, and
Yeah.
and he actually calls him a screen. He calls himself the screen queen. And like for him, this was a big deal. Like this, and he says that this was a movie for gay rights.
Yeah,
It is a big deal because
it is.
Yeah.
because much like mental health, like it's
Mhm.
something, it's a topic that comes up in horror movies because a
Yeah.
lot of the people are like schizophrenic and like they've had these mental health issues but they don't get addressed, and that
Yeah.
was something that you saw in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was they were in mental hospitals and they were getting different types of drugs and all that, and trying to fight addiction and trying to go to sleep,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of stuff going on, and they didn't really touch on it like probably what a more modern movie would do at this point.
Yeah.
But it's again, it's a good sign of the times when you're actually getting things that you didn't really expect from a horror movie or any genre that doesn't mesh what you classically say would mesh together are
Yeah.
now getting meshed together.
Yeah.
And it's Mark Patton was the kid was the guy who played Jesse, and he's actually has a documentary. I don't know if it came out or not, but it's all about like the story of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and like his story about being an openly gay actor and like his struggles of being a gay actor. So like I don't know if it's out. I have to look. I don't think it is. But that's a documentary I'm very much looking forward to. Any type of documentary behind the scenes of horror films that I love, I'm always open to it, and I'm always excited to watch it.
Mhm.
But he's a guy who really embraces that film, and he's very proud of that film. And the second photo, I had two pictures from Robert Englund, and the second one I got was a poster of Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and then I was at a convention that Mark Patton was there. He wasn't at the booth when I was there, so I didn't get a chance to meet him. But he'll be coming around again. But I did get to meet Kincaid from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 more.
Yes.
And so he was cool as hell. He was a really really nice guy. But yeah, so so basically Freddy won.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and no, but like the looks, I think that it did give us one of the better looks of Freddy, and I think it actually gave probably my second favorite Jason look.
I think it's
My first-
Jason's best look, honestly.
Well, my favorite will always
Jason
be
X.
Uber Jason. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite. Always, it will always be Uber Jason. So like,
Right.
I think there's so much that like, there's so much that this movie did for us as horror fans.
Yes.
And I think it was such a milestone for horror. And that's what gives you my next question is, and it has to be something that hasn't happened, okay?
Right.
So my question I want for you guys is, what horror icons would you like to see in another Versus film that hasn't happened? So Alien and Predator can't be in it, Frankenstein and the Wolfman can't be in it, Freddy and Jason. So like, what icons would you like to put up? And it could be any type of horror. It doesn't have to be the typical, Michael, Freddy. I mean, Andrew, if you want to, whatever realm of horror you guys want to work into, that's where I want you guys to pick.
Okay.
I'd like to see Leprechaun and Wishmaster go head to head just because they're both magic.
Wow, that would be cool as shit. That would be cool as shit.
I'd like to see a new Wishmaster movie, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's underrated.
That was a fun franchise, and actually, speaking of Leprechaun, the newest Leprechaun Returns, was fucking great.
I heard it was pretty good.
I met the new kid. His name's Lyndon Porco. I met him at a convention. I was actually his first autograph.
Really?
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So he was actually Chucky's stunt double in Cult of Chucky. So I got him to sign the Chucky poster and the Leprechaun Returns poster.
Nice.
Yeah. So the Leprechaun versus Wishmaster would be cool. Andrew?
I have a pretty unique one here, and I think it would be
Okay.
pretty awesome. I
Hmm.
would like to see if they did, and I don't want to think about the details. I want to think of Jigsaw setting up traps for Freddy.
That'd be cool. It
I
could be
Ah.
interesting.
like it would be like it could be Dream World setting, and Jigsaw somehow figured out a way to like do things in the dream world. Again,
Work
it's hard.
together with
It's
Pinhead.
hard. You just figure it out, and creates this nightmare house for Freddy to have to go through.
That's interesting.
What if they teamed up?
That too.
Well, I mean, obviously they always end up their fight, but like, what if by the end they team
That'd
up?
be that'd be the end. That would be the end goal.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Or almost if like Tobin Bell's character like almost like became like a new Freddy and was torturing people in hell that way.
see,
Could happen, and
Things could
that's the
happen.
cool thing with the horror genre. There is no
You can
wrong
do
answers.
anything.
right?
There is none. So here's what I would do. I'm taking it back to the beginning,
Okay.
and I would like to see the Mummy versus Dracula.
That'd be cool.
Ah, that'd be interesting.
Like especially like even like they could put in like the Brendan Fraser Mummy,
Perfect.
of Emotep, that version of Emotep, because he has like all the powers, like he could manipulate sand and water. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely he's very powerful. And then you got like the modern day Dracula from like
Mhm.
Dracula Untold, where like he
Mhm.
could turn into bats. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like he can manipulate the environment. Imagine those two going head to head.
That'd be
that'd
pretty
sick.
sweet. Although if
Yeah,
I
'cause
see a Dracula going against him, I'd want it to be Gary Oldman's.
That's a good Dracula. See, and I guess the reason like I picked the Dracula Untold version is
Yeah, what's
I
your
feel
reasoning?
like obviously I feel like power wise it matches up
Okay.
because like I said like almost like the manipulate like they both can manipulate the environment, right? So I would want to like Gary Oldman. Yeah, he could turn himself into like a giant bat and like a werewolf, but like
Yeah.
they went more action horror with Untold, and just like they went
Okay.
action horror with the Mummy.
Yeah, it would
to see
mash
them
up
both-
better.
Yeah, and like the destruction and the carnage that they could unleash on each other, like even like the casualties that would be in the mix of the battle.
Right.
I think I just think like cinematically,
Mhm.
like seeing like a wall of bats and like a sand wall of the Mummy's face coming out, like
Dude, that would
colliding.
be sick.
Yeah, so like I just felt like their power matched, and like as I was thinking of this question, like, I didn't want to do like a typical answer, right? Like I think all of us had some really, really, really cool, unique answers. Like I didn't want to do like Leatherface versus Michael, or like Chucky versus Sam from Trick or Treat. Like I wanted to do something. Like I was thinking, like what would be more unique? What would be more uncommon? I'm a giant Universal Monsters fan. Eventually, you guys can see my movie theater room. It's the whole theme of it's Universal Monsters. And I just kept thinking, especially I was telling Andrew, I pretty much watch the Brendan Fraser's movies once a month. I don't know, they're just amazing to me.
They're
And I was watching it yesterday. Yeah, they're great. I was watching it yesterday, and I love that version of Emotep a lot, and how powerful he is. And then I was thinking of another remake of the Universal Monsters, which was Dracula Untold, and Luke Evans played Dracula. And I just thought like they would mesh so well together.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that Dracula Untold movie is fantastic.
I don't know why people shit on it so much. I don't get
It's
it.
so good.
I've never seen it, but I've seen clips of it, so I'm familiar with how Dracula is in that.
It's
so
a fun
I
fucking
agree.
movie.
Yeah.
We saw it together, Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
sick.
fun movie, dude.
Hmm.
See, that was like Universal has tried starting a cinematic universe several different times.
Yeah.
And we could have a whole show on it, but I'll get into a little bit of it. So they wanted the Dark Universe has been trying to get up for a while now, right? I want to say they tried it with the Wolfman. The Wolfman bombed, which sucks because that movie's phenomenal as well. I think Eric, we saw that together.
Yeah, we saw that opening night.
Yeah. And anybody who knows me, like my favorite Universal monster is the Wolfman. I love him. And then they did Dracula Untold, and they even have an end credit scene where he gets put in modern time. And then that movie bombed. And then they decided to reboot The Mummy with Tom Cruise. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought that Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was incredible. I thought he was the best part of the movie, and I thought Sophia Boutella as Aminette, the Mummy, she did amazing. It bombed. So now the Dark Universe is no more. Now they're going more the solo film route, which I'm okay with, because as a horror fan, without these monsters, we wouldn't have Freddy and Jason.
No, we wouldn't.
We wouldn't have Michael and Leatherface. We wouldn't have any of these, right? And horror has saved Universal 3 times.
Right.
Okay? They saved it with the first go around of the Universal monsters. They saved it with the Abbott and Costello meets the monsters, and then they saved the parks with Halloween Horror Nights. Horror and Universal just makes sense. Okay?
Yes.
And these classic monsters deserve the respect, and they deserve the recognition. They don't get talked about nearly enough. And I love the fact that Lee Whannell took the Invisible Man concept, and instead of trying to remake what the original has given us, he took his own route, went the way of an abusive relationship. There's a very paranoid. The movie's it makes you very paranoid. The way he works the camera. I mean, I gotta tell you guys, when Invisible Man comes out, it's my favorite horror movie of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It's Elizabeth Moss is one of the greatest actresses I've ever seen, and she plays it so well in that movie. You feel for her. You're going crazy because everybody thinks she's crazy.
Right.
Lee Whannell was able to accomplish with the Invisible Man, saved the Universal monsters, and I look forward to the next chapter of modernizing these monsters. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that Stephen Sommers back in the day did Mummy and the Mummy Returns, and then he also did Van Helsing, and he kept it more of that. He tried going kept it within the time periods of the movies were set in.
Yeah.
And but I'm also open to modern. I'm open. I just want to see these characters live on. Just like I want to see more Freddy movies. I want to see more Jason movies. I want to see more Michael Myers movies. I don't even give a fuck if they're not always the greatest. I just love these characters so much that I just want to continue to see them grow.
Yeah. And I think that's something that'll eventually come back around.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't do a reboot every 10 years.
No. It totally oversaturates it. It makes it's just too much.
Yeah, and but with the Universal monsters, it's nice to see fresh takes though. Like I said, with the Invisible Man, if you put shot for shot the 1933 Claude Rains Invisible Man directed by James Whale, and then you put the new Invisible Man directed by Lee Whannell starring Elizabeth Moss. There's the only thing they have in common is that there's a guy who's invisible.
Right.
That's it. There's nothing in common with those films. But he took the concept and made it his own. That's what I would like to see. I want to see filmmakers, especially Jordan Peele. I don't know what he's doing, but Jordan Peele is definitely a director that really, really has my eye right now.
It's all that weed
Get Out.
smoking.
Yeah, from what he did with Get Out to Us, which I think Us was incredible. That was my favorite film of his, was Us.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing really good work on The Twilight Zone. I'm looking forward to seeing the Candyman that he wrote. He didn't direct it, but he's writing and producing it, so his hand's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to see what monster he picks, because Jordan Peele kind of goes a route of he likes to play more with racism,
Yeah.
and he said he's very determined to continue to bring black actors to the front. So it'd be cool to see.
That's awesome.
A monster. Of a person of color, right? I don't care. If they want to do Frankenstein and make him black, give us a new perspective, right?
Give us Black Dracula, but do it right and don't make it a comedy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's cool to see they're giving it to creative filmmakers, right? Lee Whannell's a very creative filmmaker. Lee Whannell, if anybody doesn't know, him and James Wan created the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
Lee Whannell actually plays Adam in the first Saw movie. The guy who's in the bathroom with Dr. Lawrence. That's the director of The Invisible Man. And he made a movie. I want to 2017 called Upgrade. It was just incredibly.
I heard that was good.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest science fiction body horror films I've ever seen. And then when I heard he was doing The Invisible Man, I was like, wow, yeah, he's perfect for it. So like he's a director with vision. He's a director he's a director who's original, right? Jordan Peele, Get Out, and Us are very original movies, right? Especially Get Out. Get Out's like
great.
a culture phenomenon.
Yeah.
You know that movie is going to live on for a very long time. It's going to be taught in film schools because it has such a deep meaning behind it.
Right.
So he's a guy. He has something to say. He's a guy who can really take these films and not make it cookie cutter, right? And then you got John Krasinski, who is Jim from The Office, and he did A Quiet Place, and then he's doing A Quiet Place 2, which we should have saw, but coronavirus, and they want him to write. They want him to write. With the rumors, it might be The Bride of Frankenstein. I would love to see what he has to say because he's a director again who has a voice. He has a specific vision. He's very creative. I don't want to see Cookie. If you're going to make these monsters, like you said, you don't want to see a remake every 10 years, but if they are going to remake it, give us something new. Give us a reason why you remake it.
Right. I love that these comedy actors are now becoming these great horror directors.
Yeah, well, look at John Krasinski, Jordan Peele, and then David Gordon Green with Halloween.
Yep.
And Danny McBride, who wrote Halloween. You know, like these guys are deep in the comedy realm. And,
was it Chris Rock with Saw?
Yeah, and I look very much forward to Spiral, which got pushed back to 2021.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it this way. You got to have a really good sense of humor to be able to like go and want to create some sort of even just to watch a horror movie, because if you let yourself get tied down by too many emotions, if you're watching a horror movie, you're just going to be depressed.
Oh, absolutely.
And also, too, go ahead.
So you need to have a thick skin, and you need to have some sort of sense of humor to add humility to these movies. So it's why comedians make such good horror directors and actors, because
I think
they can do it.
I think that's what makes them great writers in general, not just for like horror comedy, but like for like anything. They can be writing poetry. They're usually great at it because a lot of these comedic actors and even stand-ups, anybody that's thinking comedy, they have to think outside the box. And they're looking at different ways to find humor in different things, which helps them create the stories a little better, whether it's a stand-up routine or a movie script or whatever it is.
Well, also comedy and horror go hand in hand. Like,
absolutely.
Let's put John Landis, right? Let's take John Landis. To make a successful horror movie, and is you have to have really good timing.
Yes.
To make a successful comedy, you have to have really good timing.
Yes.
So if you can, and they virtually go the same, right? A punchline to a joke it has the right timing. It's just like having the perfect jump scare, and then when like a guy like John Landis who blended the two together with American Werewolf in London showed that horror and comedy mesh, and that's the thing. Like he says all the time, if you can make a horror film, you can make a comedy because they do go hand in hand.
Yes,
it's timing.
Which is why we have Evil Dead 2.
Yes, well look at Sam Raimi. He's a very broad director. You know, from doing the Spider-Man movies to Evil Dead. I want to say he did the Wizard of Oz remake not the remake, the prequel with James Franco. Like
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say, well, Bruce Campbell's in it, and so is the car that's never seen one of his movies, so I'm pretty sure into it. So like that just shows you like so many and then you got Jordan Peele, David Gordon Green. David Gordon Green did Pineapple Express, with Danny McBride, and then you find out that these guys are diehard horror fans. And speaking of David Gordon Green, he's apparently working on the Hellraiser. I don't know if it's a movie or the TV series that's in the works, but he's working on Hellraiser now. But then you got Jordan Peele, who had Key and Peele, which is a very funny sketch comedy show, and he comes in to horror and blows our socks off. I mean, and I can't speak on Chris Rock because I haven't seen Spiral, but it looks phenomenal. And from what I heard, that he's made what he went to Lionsgate and pitched the Saw movie for. They said it was so original and it was so good. And the fact that Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed Saw 2, 3, and 4, is back to direct the Saw movie after I never thought he would come back, it shows you that there's something there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it's just like comedy and horror just go hand in hand, and it's just nice to see these comedy directors bringing us a fresh take to horror and rejuvenate and giving the respect back to horror. Because, let's be honest, comedy and horror don't necessarily have the respect it deserves in cinema. It just doesn't.
Not at all.
Well, I mean,
That's what.
look at my from last week.
Mhm.
I love comedies.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too. I think it's on my list as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, they go hand in hand together.
Yeah, they do, and it's just like I don't know. Like I think now's the time that we do think outside the box, right? We do. Like when I first heard Jordan Peele was doing a horror movie for Blumhouse, I was like, what? Like I actually had to think twice about it. Cause I'm like, the guy from Comedy Central
Right.
doing a horror movie. I'm like, okay, and then you see, you're like, wow, like this guy can make a movie. Okay, cool. And it's like, and then like, first off, the fact that he got the Twilight Zone just made sense because I never leave and Get Out. And I was like, Mom, we have an episode of Twilight Zone.
Right.
And then he gets then now he's the show. I want to say he's the showrunner and he's the host of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I know he writes several of the episodes, so that was cool. And then when I heard David Gordon Green, they're like the director of Pineapple Express and Danny McBride is writing and directing the new Halloween movie. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like I'm like Pineapple Express guy, and like I love the movie, but I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work. Saw the movie, loved it.
Right.
Loved Halloween 2018.
Oh yeah.
And then you got John Krasinski. I'm a diehard fan of The Office, so I was gonna see it regardless, because I wanted to support John Krasinski. And then when I saw A Quiet Place, I'm like, what the fuck, man? These comedy directors are freaking schooling us right now.
Yeah.
So it's just nice because Jordan Peele won the Oscar for Get Out.
Mhm.
That showed, and then like I went and saw Us, and the theater was packed, and I'm like, wow, like he's bringing horror back, right? And even Halloween Horror Nights, I just went. Us was one of the mazes, and then everybody wants to see A Quiet Place 2 because of how much of an experience A Quiet Place 1 was. And then obviously Halloween 2018 was such a success that one, they got Jamie Lee Curtis to come back, which I never thought that would be possible.
That there. Once I found out she was back, I'm like, okay, this has
Yeah.
to be good. It has to be serious. She
Yeah,
would
and
not
then-
come back otherwise.
And then the fact that Blumhouse is like, we're doing two more and we're filming back to back.
Mm.
They believed in the project. The fact that they greenlit 2 movies showed how much they believed in it.
Exactly.
And like Jake Gyllenhaal is the reason why we got this movie. Right?
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal did a movie with David Gordon Green. The one when the guy was like, what is it called? Like the one with Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's like paralyzed or something. Hold on, let me pull it up. David Gordon. Where is he? There he is. I'll tell you what the movie's called. Oh, Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
So Jake Gyllenhaal is really, really, really good friends with Jamie Lee Curtis, and David Gordon Green and Danny McBride are die-hard Halloween fans. And I guess they got to talking about like how he wanted to do a Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, Jake Gyllenhaal made the call to her and said, "Hey, hear this guy out." And because I don't think she had any intention of ever coming back, but she gave him the shot. She read the script and she loved it. So because of Jake Gyllenhaal, we got Halloween 2018.
Nice.
And they brought back John Carpenter, and John Carpenter is a very blunt man.
Didn't it get his blessing too?
Yeah, it did. He scored the film.
Yeah, exactly.
His son. I mean, he's the executive producer. Like anybody who knows John, I met John at a convention and I went to his Q&A. He's very blunt. He'll shit on his own film. Okay, like he doesn't give a fuck. So if he says a movie's good and he believes in it, I believe him. So when he said like you guys are gonna be very happy with Halloween 2018, I was like, all right, it's got John's seal of approval.
Yeah.
He would openly say if he didn't like it, or he'd just be like, or he would just kind of avoid the question. Like I mean, he literally, if someone asked him like, who's the worst actor you ever worked with? Anytime I've ever heard that question ever asked, they skirt around the idea and they just kind of go away with it. John Carpenter literally goes, Chevy Chase, he was a piece of shit. Like he just doesn't give a fuck. That's why John Carpenter's the fucking man. So like just to have his blessing on it, just shows you like, to have him and Jamie Lee like to come back and believe in the project and not just get the paycheck. Just like showed me like how much this movie was going to be great. And I loved it. I cannot wait to see the next 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, we almost made a horror movie. You remember
we
wrote the script?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't the weed whacker murder?
No. It was actually this was like a serious thing. We actually wanted to make it.
Oh,
Andrew, I actually do have an idea And Eric, I want you guys included. I do have an idea for for either a short or a feature film that I would love to bring you guys on board, and maybe you guys
Of
can help me
course.
write it.
I'm
I
always
can
down.
I'll talk to you guys about it more when we go off air. But like it's like a project I really believe in, and
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I have something I have something to say with it.
I'm reading the
So
script for The Pines right now.
yeah, it was like our
I
script
knew,
was
I knew it was for the Pines. Yeah.
yeah. It was going to be like an old we wanted it to be like an homage to like 80s slashers and
Mhm.
and obviously we live in Jersey, so the Pine Barrens are a big thing here, Jersey Devil and all that shit. So we wanted to make a new legend with a new killer, and we were going to do it, and we just never got around to do it.
Yeah,
But we
actually
were
had
serious.
some
We
good
said,
lines in this.
yeah, I was gonna say we were like save it because we could probably add to it and do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm always
Eric,
down to do films.
you were in it, man, for sure. But like, but like the idea again, I'll tell you guys more about it when we get off. But like, I'm pretty like, I really love this idea that I came up with.
Cool.
Pretty excited for it.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Well, that's like kind of like when we made this podcast, we all have goals in mind for this podcast, not just to hang out with each other, but to kind of pursue dreams that we all had, whether it's just something that we just do on YouTube or whatever. Like one of my dreams is always to make a horror film, and for me to one day hopefully, and I don't care if it's something that like goes anywhere. Like I said, it just might just be a horror film for YouTube. It doesn't matter to me. One of the things I want to do is make a horror film, and I know like Andrew really wants to do some things with gaming, and Eric wants to be able to talk heavy metal. Like that's what's so cool about this podcast for us is like we're three buddies just trying to all support each other in our crazy dreams.
Yeah, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I have one final question for Freddy
Yes.
vs. Jason.
Oh wow, I forgot we were talking about
Yeah,
that.
me too.
See, that's why
Comes
that's why I
full
get paid
circle.
the $0 here to keep us on track.
That's why we don't pay you the big bucks.
That's right.
Exactly. So, being that it was Robert Englund's last appearance as Freddy Krueger, other than like a cameo appearance on the Goldbergs.
Oh, good. All right, good. I was just saying it was not.
Don't worry, I got you. I also have Wikipedia up. Do you think it was a proper send off for him as Freddy?
Yes.
I do. But I do think that it did leave the door open for him to come back. So like, but like knowing what I know, like he said like he's just too old to sit through the makeup again. So knowing what I know, yeah, it was definitely a proper send off. They definitely did him right. They didn't make a mockery of him. He's never been better as Freddy. So yeah, I really do believe like if this is the last time I'm going to see him in a theatrical Freddy movie, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right. Cool. We're all on the same page then.
Yeah, he did a really great job.
Yeah. No, I thought, as you said, he never looked stronger as a Freddy than in this one.
The only thing I can see Robert ever doing, and I would be fine with it, is if they did a prequel Springwood Slasher movie.
I would love that.
Where you would see him as the Springwood Slasher, and then the movie would end with the parents of Springwood lighting the building on fire, and then obviously it would be a prequel to the original film. I would love to see that happen. The fact that that hasn't happened,
it kind of has.
The only way you can hear.
It kind of has. Remember that fan film I sent you?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, as like Robert Englund.
True.
Because I mean, you see glimpses of it in Freddy vs. Jason, which is awesome. But like, that's something that I think could be done to get Freddy like his final hurrah as the character, like knowing like, hey, this is the last time I'm ever gonna put on the gloves.
Mm-hmm.
This is my last time as Freddy. Because this was not supposed to be his last send off.
No.
It wasn't. He was not under the impression it was. There was supposed to be a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Ash was supposed to be in it. Sam Raimi was going to be involved. Everybody was ready to go. So like knowing now, like okay, Freddy's like Robert Englund's like this is the last time I'm Freddy. give me the proper send off. Like
Right.
that's what could happen. But like I am more than fine with this being the last Freddy.
I have an idea, and it's not to have him like dress up as Freddy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would be really cool if they decide to do like another remake or something is kind of have him be like a character who's in the town
Yep.
and just be like, I've seen something like this before. Just like alluding to the fact that it's him.
Yeah.
And then like at the end of the movie, like just have him like go sit down in a room and he has the gloves sitting there. He has the sweater hanging on like a thing in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's just like sitting by a fire like never thought I'd do this.
Yeah.
And then just like that's it. I think that'd be a cool send off for him.
Yeah.
And obviously it has to happen sometime soon because he is getting up there in the years. So.
I think he's 77.
Yeah.
He looks great. I mean, he
Yeah.
looks better than I do. But like, I also think like it's like always kind of cool. Like, say if they because it's inevitable. They're gonna remake a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
It's always kind of cool to see the passing of the torch moment too. Like in Halloween 2018, there is a passing of the torch moment where Nick Castle and James Jude Courtney are in the same scene. The scene in Halloween 2018 when Jamie Lee Curtis, the first time she sees Michael for the first time again in the movie, she looks up and Michael's staring in the mirror. That's Nick Castle.
Okay.
And then when they go into the hallway, it's James Jude Courtney again. So that was like that was Nick Castle passing the torch on to James. It's like, hey man, you're the new Michael, and like the fact that like they had it Jamie Lee Curtis the first time she sees Michael again after 40 years or some shit.
Mhm.
Like, and it's Nick. So like that's really cool. And then from what I heard, there's a passing of the torch moment in Candyman with Tony Todd. Like Tony Todd is in it, so to see like him be able to pay, because like it's almost like the acceptance, like, hey man, like we approve that you're gonna don this new thing that's something that I've took over for so long. So I think it's like important, like if they are gonna remake it, do something similar to what Andrew said, but maybe even like have Robert be like a victim to the new Freddy or something.
Like
Give
throw
that
him in almost like a Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, give something that the original actor can pay the new actor like as an acceptance, because I think that's always something the fans to be like, well, if they're cool with this, so am I.
Or they could do something like what I was thinking, and then like Robert Englund could just be like, "Never be me again." But I enjoyed it. Did you guys? And like look at the camera, do like a break the fourth wall type of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be.
I enjoyed what transpired throughout this film. Did you?
Yeah. Well, like, even in like the Evil Dead remake, there's a post-credit scene of Bruce Campbell just saying "groovy." That's it. Just turns groovy. You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
just fan service.
That's what's always kind of cool. That's why I was like, I was so happy to hear like Jordan Peele and to bring back Tony for the Candyman, because I can't imagine Tony not being in the Candyman film. I mean, I do think they picked the right actor to be the new Candyman. He's the guy from he's also from Us, but he's more known for Aquaman. He was Black Manta.
Oh, okay.
The villain of Aquaman. Yep. So he's gonna. I can't pronounce his name. I think it's like Yaya or something like that. But he's a really, really great actor, and I really look forward to seeing him as the new Candyman. Candyman's always been a movie with something to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the first movie is a horror staple, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode today. Next week's episode, it's gonna be an all heavy metal episode. Eric's gonna lead us off on that. He's the metal head of the group.
Yeah.
And I look forward to talking more about it. If you guys like heavy metal, death metal, and just rock in general, come on Sunday and we'll be talking about it.
That's right.
All right, and as always, you guys are either listening to us on YouTube or on Twitch right now, but just be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram. No one cares about Facebook, so we don't have one. And yeah, so just enjoy it, and we'll see you again next week. All right, bye-bye.
See ya.